There's a kind of silence you can't hear, but you feel it deep in your bones. There is a kind of loneliness that doesn't scream. It whispers, quietly. It sits in the corners of the room, follows each step like a shadow, unnoticed, but always there. This loneliness doesn't arrive all at once. It creeps in slowly, like morning fog settling over empty streets. Soft, uninvited, but impossible to escape. Some say loneliness begins when you're alone. But the truth is, it hurts the most when you're surrounded, yet feel invisible. They don't ask for much. No gifts, no grand gestures, just one simple thing: to be remembered. But the world moves too fast. The people they once held in their arms are now too busy to look back. And the ones who used to need them barely notice they're still here. Loneliness like this isn't just a feeling. It's a wound. An open one. And the worst part? It doesn't bleed. It just stays. Day after day, aching quietly behind every smile. They sit there, watching time pass, waiting for something, though they no longer know what it is. Have you ever felt lonely, even when you're not alone? It's a strange kind of emptiness, the kind that hides in silence, in the spaces between people who once mattered. Many elderly live in this quiet sadness. Their homes may still echo with footsteps, but the voices they long to hear are gone. They sit by the window not because they're waiting, but because that's where memories visit. Moments replay in their minds. The laughter of children, the sound of a familiar car pulling into the driveway, the comfort of being someone's priority. Now, the world moves too fast, and they've learned not to speak too much. Because when no one asks how you're really doing, you begin to stop asking yourself too. Loneliness in old age isn't just being alone, it's being forgotten. Still, they hold on quietly, gracefully. Because somewhere inside they still believe someone will listen. Sometimes, the deepest pain isn't from loss, but from having no one left to share your memories with. There was a time when every small story had an eager listener. Now, they speak more often in silence, because who wants to hear tales of days long gone? They long for the simple things. A voice calling their name, a hand that holds theirs without needing words, a glance that says, "You still matter." Time moves slowly now, yet loneliness never takes a break. And the quietest moments aren't at night, but mornings without greetings, afternoons without laughter, and nights without prayers whispered by someone who cares. Still, they smile, not because they're happy, but because they've learned to hold back what hurts too deeply to say. Loneliness isn't just silence. It's the fading sense of being needed by someone. You know what most elderly fear the most? Not death, but being forgotten while still alive. Once, they were the center of the family, the advisors, the protectors, the home. Now, they've faded into the background, noticed only when someone needs something. The days feel long, not because they're busy, but because every second passes without meaning. No one asks how they're doing. No one is waiting to hear their stories. They often gaze out the window, not expecting anyone to come, but because life out there is still moving, just not with them in it. Still, they hold on. With the same cup of tea each morning, with quiet steps and steady hearts, they carry a longing too heavy to speak aloud. And all they truly hope for is simple: to be heard, not pitied. Have you ever wondered why they still smile even when no one comes? It's not a smile of joy, but the smile of someone who has learned to embrace silence. They no longer expect much. Not because they've given up, but because they've been let down too many times. In the quiet, they remember the laughter that once filled the house, the tiny footsteps that are now just memories. They don't complain. They simply wait, finding meaning in the smallest things. The morning light, the smell of coffee, the sound of a bird passing by. Sometimes, They talk to themselves, not because they've forgotten, but because it helps them feel heard. And behind it all, they only wish for one thing. Not money, not gifts, just a warm hug, or a simple sentence. I still remember you. You know what's most painful for them? It's not loneliness. It's being forgotten. They don't ask for much. They don't crave attention. All they truly want is to feel like they still matter. They used to be the home we always returned to. Now they're just a contact we rarely call. Time has slowed them down, but that doesn't mean they don't miss the fast-paced days of yesterday. They carry silent longings, fearing they'd be called clingy, or worse, a burden. But their hearts haven't changed. Still full of love, still quietly hoping, even when they know that hope may never arrive. All they really wish is to be remembered, not as a weight, but as a part of our lives that once meant everything. Did you know they never meant to make you feel guilty? They know you're busy, with deadlines, goals, and dreams to chase. They just hope you won't forget where it all began. Once, they lifted you when you fell. Now, they just hope you'll pick up the phone, even if only for a moment. They're not angry when you don't come home. They just glance at the clock, wishing for a simple message. Mom, Dad, I miss you. Every night, they go to bed with one prayer: that tomorrow, their child still remembers the faces who once helped them grow. They're not after riches, nor luxury, just a few moments, and the warmth of knowing they still matter. They may never say it out loud, but every corner of the house holds memories they quietly protect. The photos on the wall, the old clothes still hanging, and your favorite plate kept in the cupboard, as if hoping one day you'll come back to use it. They smile when they recall the past, but behind that smile is a longing that never truly fades. Sometimes they sit on the porch for hours, not because they enjoy the evening breeze, but because they're waiting for footsteps that never arrive. They don't want to blame you. They just want to know if you still remember their voice, their laughter, and the little stories that once made you both laugh together. They understand your life keeps moving forward, but they still hope to be a small part of it, even if only as a memory you revisit from time to time. Sometimes, they speak to themselves, not because they've lost their minds, but because the silence becomes too heavy to bear. They whisper your name gently, in a quiet room where only memories can hear. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to grow old in silence? They don't wish for expensive gifts, nor long birthday messages. What they truly long for is simple: a warm hello, a gentle hug, and a message that says, I still remember you. Because while the world moves faster each day, they're only hoping you'd slow down, just for a moment, to remember them. And if one day they're no longer here, you'll realize that all the time you ignored can never be taken back. You'll miss them, not for their advice, but for their quiet presence, the one you never thought you'd need. Don't let regret be the only thing that keeps their memory alive. If there's still time, give them your presence. Not money, not gifts, just you. That's more than enough, because their love never asked to be returned. But if you can return it, it will be the most beautiful thing before it's too late. And if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe to this channel, Viorna, because there are still so many stories that will open our eyes and our hearts together.